There have been many great arcs and battles in the One Piece story thus far. The War of Marineford, or Paramount War, is arguably the best arc in the series to date. Every battle that our favorite protag, Robin, Luffy, every battle that our main boy Luffy had been in leading up to this arc had been fairly manageable and minuscule in comparison. Except for Crocodile. Crocodile was a beast and he folded the Straw Hats like origami. The series should have ended at Alabasta with Luffy's death. Anywho, due to every pre-Marineford arc being such low stakes, we as viewers were not prepared for what came. The war between pirates and marines showcased us some of the absolute juggernaut, powerhouse characters that we had yet to see anything even close to. From the admirals, to the warlords, to the impelled down escapees, to the Yonkos and their crews. Marineford showed us just how outclassed and underpowered our main characters truly were. If Kuma and Kizaru didn't already prove it at Sabaody Archipelago, sheesh, they got folded. Anyways, this was a great war. This was a rate war. This was a trait war. But most importantly, this was a bait war. I'm sorry, I was just trying to rhyme and make this video go on longer. I'll probably cut that out of the video. Or not. Now, Marineford was hands down my favorite arc in the story so far, as all three of my favorite characters were there. But that's not the only reason why. I, as a viewer, enjoyed how intense and high stakes the arc was. There wasn't a single episode that didn't have me holding my breath or flying out of my chair at someone's sheer epicity. Epicity? Is that even a word? Is it? Sheer epicness. However, there has always been one thing about the Paramount War that irked me. When I first watched this arc, I found myself wondering why the Marines seemed to be doing so much more damage on their pirate enemies. Honestly, the war seemed pretty one-sided from start to finish. Why was this so? It's not like this was a group of random weaklings they were fighting against. They were fighting against the Whitebeard Pirates for Pete's sake. One of the most hyped up, feared and revered crews prior to the war. They also housed one of the most hyped up and revered captains in all of One Piece to this day, Whitebeard. Long intros aside, that brings me to the point of this video. Let's talk about Whitebeard and his crew and why they seemed so underwhelming despite all the build-up that they received. Before this video continues, I want to encourage everybody to like, subscribe, and lick the bell icon like a lollipop. Or ice cream. Ice cream. I don't usually ask for these things, but it feels fitting. It works as a good transitioning point too. So, without further ado, let's start by talking about Whitebeard. Whitebeard, also known as Edward Newgate, was one of the greatest pirates to ever grace the face of the One Piece world. He was said to rival the former pirate king, Goldie Roger, in power. Once Roger died, Whitebeard was considered the strongest man alive, and closest to the One Piece, meaning that he was basically knocking on the Pirate King's door to take the title. The dude stood at 21 feet and 10 inches tall. Despite his height, his body was pretty proportionate, so he wasn't built like a potato or anything like that. Gecko Moria, Kuma. For comparison, northern giraffes normally grow to be around 15 to 20 feet at their peak. Now take this 20-foot tall giraffe and throw almost 2 more feet on top of it. That's where Whitebeard stands. Despite his intimidating stature and build, Whitebeard was one of the kindest and most respectable pirates in the story. He didn't plunder or terrorize villages like other pirates do, but rather he just wanted a family to sail the seas with. Rip Whitebeard. He also possessed one of the most broken fruits we've seen yet, the Tremor or Gura fruit, which allowed him to make tremors, vibrations, or quakes literally anywhere. The guy could literally pull on reality and break the ocean into multiple pieces. Trust me, this makes sense if you would have watched One Piece. It's a sight to see. Now, with a fruit that can literally destroy the world, almost unrivaled physical strength, and heightened speed to back, What exactly was Whitebeard's problem at Marineford? His problem was that he was an overhyped beast of a man that didn't get justice done to his character during the war. Let's talk about a few of his least impressive feats from the war. 1. Getting stabbed by cannon fodder using a regular sword. 2. His battle with Aokiji where he was frozen solid, almost twice, and had to be rescued by his crewmate. Well, maybe not had to, but he was. 3. Getting a hole punched through his stomach by a kainu. And 4. Dying. These are just roughly some of his worst feats during the Paramount War, and are definitely lame to see as viewers who were expecting supreme domination and greatness from this character. Now, does this mean Whitebeard was bad? Did he receive all of that build-up just to show us how bad he really is and how we were all lied to? Not quite. Firstly, Whitebeard was very old by the time this war began. He was way out of his prime and much weaker than he used to be. Despite being so much weaker, he still had his impressive feats from the war, impressive moments from the war. Let's do a quick review of who Whitebeard was going up against during this war. For starters, he was going up against the Admirals and the Fleet Admiral, who are definitely Yonko level threats in the series. Not to mention they were all working together. It's not like this was a 1v1. Next, we have the Warlords, who again, are high level threats in the series. If I were to make a top 10 strongest characters in One Piece, the Warlords and Admirals would probably fill up over 50% of that list. Now compare all of that to just one strong guy. Whitebeard was literally knocking on death's door before even showing up to this war. With his old age and sick body, he was so much weaker than he really could have been. This wasn't explicitly stated, so I don't blame people for not knowing. It was more left up to implications. Now, enough talk about Whitebeard, because we all know that regardless of how he was taken down during this war, he was still a force to be reckoned with, but apparently not hard to deal with. Let's switch over and talk about the more glaring weakness in this war. His crew. The Whitebeard Pirates were questionable. They had powerful members like Marco, Flowerblade Vista, Diamond Jozu, Blackbeard, and even Ace, sure. But aside from those 6 or so characters, the crew was borderline fodder. And I'm not talking about the countless waves of literal fodder that they had in their crew. I'm talking about the division commanders. Seriously, name 10 members of the Whitebeard Pirates without looking it up. They were so unmemorable. The Whitebeard Pirates spent the majority of the war getting pushed around and absolutely killed by the Marine forces. It truly felt like the only reason they were even at Marineford was to show just how strong the Marine forces were. Outside of the commanders I listed before, the others didn't just seem underwhelming, they were. They all had cool and unique character designs, but that was pretty much it. Their abilities were limited mostly to just swinging swords, shooting guns, and ramming walls with boats. Whitey Bay. It's hard to defend Whitebeard's crew because of how truly weak they were. When comparing the likes of Big Mom's crew to Whitebeard's crew just looks so much weaker. Down to each crew's weakest members, Big Mom had Whitebeard's crew outclassed at pretty much every point. Now again, it's hard to defend Whitebeard's crew, but I'll try my best. So again, the Whitebeard Pirates were mostly just a bunch of abnormally skilled people fighting in the most normal way possible. Let's talk about these characters, starting with the ones with the least faults. What went wrong with them? I'm gonna fly through these because this is an overall video, not an in-depth character description video. If you want one of those, comment, quote, Ace is bad, unquote, and I'll get on it. Maybe. Firstly, Marco. I personally feel like Marco is the only Whitebeard pirate that wasn't completely disappointing. And here's why. Marco possesses both Ken and Buso Haki. His Phoenix Fruit proved to be pretty overpowered as he was eating hits from Kizaru without a trace of damage. Now, of course, they needed to nerf him, so they got some Sea Stone cuffs, blah blah blah. Marco doesn't need much explaining, he was perfectly fine. Next, we have the big boy Diamond Jozu. Like Marco, he also uses both Buso Shoku and Kenbun Shoku Haki. He has the ability to turn his body into diamond and then throw himself around at impressive speed and power for someone his size. Now, the main reason why he was so underwhelming is because his fighting style was limited to brute force and throwing himself around. At this point in the One Piece series, characters have multiple unique different ways of fighting, and being limited to brute force is pretty lame for someone who should be considered a top tier character in One Piece. Next, Flowerblade Vista. This dude was lame. I'm sorry if you liked his character, but he was lame. Bias aside, he, like Marco and Jozu, possessed both unlockable forms of hockey. I'm sure he had plenty of unique sword skills, but we didn't really get to see much of anything. The reason I'll talk about him separately from everybody else is because he had proven himself as a capable swordsman. Going sword to sword with the greatest swordsman alive, Mihawk, and leaving the fight in a deadlock is definitely a great showing of power. However, aside from that, he got zero love from the writers and almost had no screen time. Now that the three capable fighters are vaguely explained, let's talk about the rest of the Whitebeard commanders and subordinate captains. I like to call them the Fodder Alliance. Here's where things start to really get underwhelming and live up to the title of this video. Firstly, let's explain what fodder means so you have a better understanding of why I'm referring to this group as the Fodder Alliance. Fodder means someone that is expendable, easy to deal with, meant to die, and overall just an easy target. They're basically just there to fill up void space. So, Fodder Alliance is made up of Whitebeard's division commanders and subordinate captains. Now these guys were utterly disappointing, and here's why. Aside from being more skilled, physically stronger, and faster than regular pirates or marines, these guys didn't really have anything going for them. Apart from a few gags and tricks, they were mostly all just gunslingers and swordsmen. They were the definition of cannon fodder, expendables with names and unique character designs. I say this because during the war, none of the Fodder Alliance was able to take down an important member of the Marine Forces. Not a single one. Vice Admirals and below do not count as important. As a viewer, I was expecting greatness out of these pirates. I wanted to see a back and forth battle with casualties on both ends. That's not what we got. We got the Fodder Alliance being completely beasted by the Marines. For example, one of the commanders was controlled effortlessly by Doflamingo and then never talked about or shown again. If that doesn't scream, Expendable! I don't know what does. So why did they seem like this? Why do we have monster crews like Big Moms compared to a crew like this? Shouldn't they be pretty equal in power? Well, the reason for it, again, there was no reference point. When this war began, this was the peak of power. Hockey hadn't yet been fleshed out, which is why not many members of Whitebeard's crew were shown to use it. Abilities created all the time, and at this point in the series, aside from Devil Fruits, there weren't many abilities. Everyone was really just a skilled swordsman, martial artist, or sniper. This was literally the peak of power. That being said, the Whitebeard Pirates were not underwhelming. As bad as I personally feel like they were, they kinda were. But at the same time, they were not. It's hard to think about it during that time rather than this time, because now we have so many powerful characters to compare them to. During that time, the caliber of Yonko Crews had yet to be mastered and understood, so what we got was just a bunch of skilled fighters. Now that we have reference points for how strong people are, crews are becoming more powerful. It's how all series work. Stronger people are revealed as the story goes on. I feel like the Whitebeard Pirates shouldn't have been introduced until later in the story because they received what I like to call the pre-time skip treatment, where everybody is so much weaker than they should and could be. Now I could go on, but I'm honestly having trouble gathering my thoughts, running out of storage space, and I want to leave the rest of this question up to debate. Leave a comment down below with what you think about the Whitebeard Pirates. Are they weak or just misunderstood? I'm Blaze, and thanks for checking out this video. If you enjoyed, you know what to do. Drop a comment letting me know what other types of discussion videos you want to see. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Yeah.